I do like the idea that the crunch is so loud you can't hear. Like, that feels like something that Rip wouldn't care about. Like, he's like, that's also why I eat crunchy
Right, like drowns
Cheetos.
out the world.
Drowns out the world and invites the pain of the spice. Welcome back to New Rockstars. With Peacemaker Season 2 now in our lives, we had to get someone from this amazing project here at New Rockstars, and we are so grateful to be joined by Judomaster, Rip Jagger himself, Nhut Lee. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's so great. Glad to be here.
It's so cool to have you on the show, and I have so many questions for you as someone who's now part of this thriving DC universe, for one, but also just like loving everything that you did in season 1 and everything. Every time you were on camera, it was just so fun to watch all the choices you were making. Yes, I had to have the obligatory bags of Flaming Hot Cheetos. Now, I've never had a Flaming Hot Cheeto before. You've obviously eaten your fair share of them.
I am so honored that I can be here while you have your first taste.
Yeah, let's do it.
Shall we go for it?
Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know what, I wouldn't force you to share a bag. I'm hesitant because I've just seen the Jack Black Saturday Night Live sketch where it's like Preparation H, Flaming Hot, and so I'm terrified of what's gonna happen here, but. Oh, that's great. That's not Flaming Hot.
When you're eating like a bunch of them, it does get spicy.
I see what you mean, and there is kind of a first alarm that comes in a little late.
Yeah, and I will warn you that it gets spicy on the back end as well. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. We'll snack on these throughout the show.
Delicious.
Wonderful. This episode was not sponsored by Cheetos, so I don't know why we gave them that free airtime. I understand that when you shot season 1, that just to make it a bit easier on you, they had regular Cheetos that they dusted red to make them look like Flaming Hot.
Yeah.
But did that make you can be honest, does that make you never want to touch Cheetos again? Is it, now that it's work, does it deprive you of enjoyment?
So before this, I never ate Cheetos. But then once I started working, I was like, oh, these are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And then for season 2, they actually brought me in a little bit early and had a Cheeto taste test. So there were like 8 or 10 different Cheetos that they've colored in like different spices and rubs and stuff. So I went through and picked, the one I picked was the most bland because I knew I'd have to eat a lot of it, but some of them were really good. There was like a barbecue rub, a paprika one, but I picked the plainest one I could because I knew I'd be eating a lot of it.
I think that's a smart way to go. We were talking before we recorded how weird it is that Flaming Hot is now like the baseline that they build things onto, but such is the nature of food production. I don't know. I've looked into a lot of this research, how they've gotten food scientists to actually like efficiently optimize the crunch factor of things. Because if you have a crunch when you bite something, you're more likely to go for another one. Which I feel like that's so manipulative and so smart.
They figured it out.
They did. They figured us out. I feel like we're plugged in somewhere. Let's talk about the character of Judomaster, who, in my opinion, was a standout of season 1. Judomaster, of course, an enemy to the 11th Street Kids. I think op would be a good word,
100%.
rather than like a villain.
Right.
And all we really know about Judomaster at the start is that he's working for Senator Goff and has some kind of connection to the butterflies, which I'm only getting from the fact that your character wept at Coverdale Ranch just looking at their slain bodies. Do you think, or you don't have to spoil anything, but should we get answers about Judomaster's backstory?
So I think they covered it very briefly in the last episode of season 1, where it says, where Annie's character, who was taken over by Goff, she said that we told Judomaster our plan and he agreed that, this is how humanity could be saved. So I think Judomaster is not a villain, as you say, so he is thinking that this is how he's going to help the world. And obviously the 11th Street Kids think differently, so I think that's why they were in contention.
Yeah. That choice that Chris makes at the end, despite hearing what felt like a pretty convincing monologue from the Goff butterfly that's now in the detective's head, was just so true for him. It was selfish. And so that selflessness that Judomaster approached that mission with, is that grounded? Is that rooted in anything? Any kind of history for the character that you're curious about?
Yeah, when reading the last episode, when he shows up to Cloverfield and, this mission's gone awry and everyone he's worked with is dead and his mission basically failed and he showed up late to the party, it's sort of me thinking of this character's background of, what were the times before this that he tried his best and it still didn't work out. And so he felt like he's failed, and so he, starts crying and eating hot Cheetos to comfort himself. But yeah, I think it's his desire to do good, and I think that's some of the animosity that's carried through season 2, because in season 2 he starts working with Argus,
right?
Whose mission now is to capture Peacemaker.
So we just saw in episode 3. Your character is now back. You're doing a lot of scenes with John Economos, with Tim Meadows as Agent Fleury, with Sacha Bordeaux, with Michael Rooker joining the cast as Red St. Wild. What are all of these actors like to work with? Like, this is kind of your crew for a lot of this season.
Right. It's sort of a very ragtag team. The actors' personalities are very different from each other, and the casting is just impeccable because every character is so fun in their own way. And as Judomaster, he dislikes each one of them for a different reason. So obviously he has history with the 11th Street Kids throughout season 1. So in season 2, he sort of reconciles each relationship.
Yeah, it's fun already to just see you share the screen again with Steve Agee. One thing that Steve Agee has said, and James Gunn has said as well, is that the last 3 episodes of this season, 6, 7, 8, something that is not being shared with anyone in the media. That's how secretive James Gunn is being about it, because he said there's potentially some big cameos. I won't ask you about any of the big secrets or reveals, but how Steve Agee has said it's a different show. What do you think he's saying about that? Was that your experience as well, that those back 3 episodes are so different that it feels like working on a different show?
I think when you're in it, you know what the story is building up to. So for me, it was just a continuation of what these characters are going through. And I was very excited to shoot the back 3 because, sort of all these plates are in the air and things start falling, things fall apart, so it was exciting to see each actor and each character sort of navigate their own lane and how it all settles.
Yeah. Is there, since you were there for season 1 as well, was there any difference in set secrecy? Did you have less access to all the scripts, or were there any days where you weren't allowed to be on set for things as opposed to weren't required to be on set?
Yeah, so in season 1, we got all of the scripts at one time, and then in season 2 they sort of trickled it in, and then especially with the back 3 episodes, we would get scripts where whole scenes would be redacted.
Oh wow.
So it's a need to know only basis.
Interesting.
So even on set, if those people are in certain redacted scenes, you talk to them, they are nothing, that's how secretive.
Wow. So there were within scenes that you were in where your scene partner was not giving you anything to react off of. That's how redacted it was?
Yeah, it was scenes and then just full sections blocked out.
Wow.
And then there are full scenes that are blocked out. And so you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, how as an actor do you approach something like that? Do you just have to really know what Rip Jagger's about in this moment, or is just James kind of your scene partner effectively? Yeah,
I think the nice thing working with James is you do have to put in a lot of trust for him. And it's nice because he knows what the story is. So if you don't particularly know what your motivations are or why you're saying this or what you're doing, he's like, just do this. And so as a good actor, you just do that and then trust that, it will serve the full story in the end.
Yeah. I love the physicality you bring to Judomaster, both in season 1 and already in season 2. We haven't seen that much yet, but I assume we're gonna see some fireworks. How do you physically prepare to play Judomaster, a character as physical as he is?
I think it was helpful in season 1 that he didn't have a lot of lines, so I had to figure out how to bring this character through without, saying words. So it was in the body language and his costume. He wears a cowl, and so you can only see his eyes and a little part of his mouth. And so whatever I was doing, it was mostly in my body, eyes, and then this part, and that was it. So what's really helpful is once I put in the cowl, it's I don't want to complain, but it's miserable in there.
Yeah, sure.
Right when I put it on, it's just you're putting on Judomaster, and this is his view of the world, And so the constraint in the costume, my posture is a little bit different, and so the costuming definitely helped me transform into Judomaster. And in all of the fight scenes, the stunt team is amazing, and they say Judomaster is sort of like a Wolverine or like a honey badger. He's small, but he's so aggressive, and like most big predators are afraid to go up against something like that because you don't know what they're gonna do. And so right before a fight scene, I'll try to get into that zone, and I sort of snarl and hiss, which is so weird, but it's helpful for me to get into that character because I'm so different than who Judomaster is as a person.
Yeah, there is something real animalistic about, I feel like the way every masked character so far on this show, and the little we've seen of James Gunn's DCU plan, he's really committing to comic accuracy in the suit designs, and I think that's requiring from actors like you thinking about the psychology of someone who would wear this uncomfortable thing over their head and how they would express themselves with other parts of their face. With Judomaster, I've noticed he's kind of contributing another part of the conversation that Peacemaker is doing a really good job of delving into, which is what we call toxic masculinity. That was a big part of season 1. And in season 2, they're even giving that diagnosis to Amelia Harcourt, which I think is so funny. But really, I think I consider that to be something like a natural inclination to rage, to mistrust, to loneliness. And I think all 3 of those words describe Judomaster. He's a loner. He doesn't trust people. He's angry. What do you think makes Judomaster so angry?
I think he's so angry because maybe of something in his background or he's used to people underestimating him. You see his short stature and his social skills aren't the best. And so he's probably in the back of the classroom or in the corner. And so being on a team with Argus this season, you sort of see his peculiarities a little bit more. But I think it's just who he is as a person. He doesn't, go out of his way to be different, but he also doesn't go out of his way to try to fit in. And one thing that people always say is why does he eat with his mouth open all the time? And I that was a character choice. It was never written down anywhere. And I think for him, he doesn't care about general society's expectations and norms. And so in his mind, if you don't like him, what are you gonna do? Beat him up? You can't, he'll kick anyone's ass. So he can do whatever he wants. And in that, it does stray away from societal norms, and I think he's totally okay with it.
I love that idea. I also just know, as someone who loves spicy food, if you have your mouth open, you're inviting oxygen in to react with those spices and activate them in a way, and that they tell people who do hot ones and other things, keep the mouth closed, swallow it, get the food down, and then let the saliva just wash it down. So do you think there's something there with Judomaster inviting that pain? I want all the spices to boil my tongue.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, and I have said in interviews prior that he is sort of a masochist. He likes the pain.
Yeah.
So maybe that was,
Today's episode of Breakroom is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Football season starts soon, so we're already keeping an eye on some bets we'd like to place. It's so easy and adds a fun element to watching the games beyond wanting your team to win. I'm a fan of the over-under bets. Like, will Saquon Barkley have more or less than one rushing touchdown opening week? More? For sure. But Joe Burrow's not getting 2.5 passing TDs. I'm taking the under. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your pick right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Prize Picks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Download the app today and use code BREAKROOM to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code BREAKROOM to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Speaking of like pain and how it affects the psychology of these characters, James Gunn has said that one of his favorite scenes to shoot in season 1, in terms of just like how much laughing he was doing on set, was with you and with John and with Freddie in the basement of Senator Goff's home when, you know, Peacemaker and Vigilante were tied up and Vigilante was getting tortured. And we actually have some outtake clips of just hearing how much people were laughing. Let's react to the clip here and roll it.
Don't monkey back, a little bit back. Monkeys have teeth in there. Fair. That's a very fair assessment.
So what was James Gunn trying to say there? Like,
So he was trying to say, little known fact, Wookiees have
That's right.
teeth in their assholes, and that's canon. And he tries for a full maybe 2 minutes to try to say this, but every word he just can't get it out. And me and John were sitting there like, waiting for the line so he can say it, and everyone on set is just listening to him crack up, joke in his head. Great.
That's so fun. And like, so in that moment, you have to share a scene with someone like John Cena, who's a wrestler, who's like cutting promos and shit talking for a living, and he can just go on and on and on. Now in season 2, you're doing that a lot with Steve Agee, who I know you also did that in season 1. But what's it like? Like, do you have to do any kind of mental preparation to yes and that sort of thing, or to go along with them in those tangents?
Yeah, so the hard part about that scene specifically was it was my first day shooting with John, and I was in costume and I'm eating the Cheetos, and the crunch is so loud, I couldn't hear what he was saying. And so, like the rule of improv is to listen. That's the biggest thing, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. So I'm like, oh no, what am I supposed to say? But after that, I realized to, take bites when he isn't talking. But for improv-wise, I think just being in the moment and just having fun. I know a lot of actors are worried what they're gonna say is stupid or feel judged, but this set is so cool and chill, and everyone's there to get their work done, but also have a good time because we spent so much time with each other. Mm-hmm. So now, especially having scenes with Steve, like Steve and I just rip on each other all the time.
It's really fun, and like I do like the idea that the crunch is so loud you can't hear. Like that feels like something that Rip wouldn't care about. Like he's like, that's also why I eat crunchy
He like drowns
Cheetos.
out the world.
Drowns out the world and invites the pain of the spice. We're learning so much.
Title of his novel.
This wasn't just James Gunn's favorite snack food that he was working into the show. There was something else.
So clever, so great.
He had it
thought
all
about
planned
this,
out.
Yeah.
He's definitely 4D chessing everything. But now that James Gunn is building this DCU out, I mean, season 1 was, at the time, considered to be a spin-off of what was a DC EU movie. And the stakes were probably a bit lower in terms of the world building. Now it's after Superman, and James Gunn wrote this season with that in mind. Do you feel is it added pressure or is it added opportunity that you're now part of a show that is like firmly part of this DC Universe franchise?
I think for me, there wasn't any more pressure. It was a chance of, when reading the script, we got it before Superman was shown. So little instances of, this and that here and there was like, oh, that's fun. And then after seeing Superman, you sort of see a little bit more of the ramifications of what is going on in our script. So for me, it was like building out this fuller world, which is really nice, because in season 1 we were sort of just sequestered to Evergreen, the city where this happened, and now it's sort of bringing the larger DCU into it.
Yeah, and again, we can't really get into. I don't even know. I don't know what happens at the end of the season. But like, from what I've read, some of the production that was happening in the Atlanta area and wherever else it was happening around the same time James Gunn was going back and forth to Cleveland to shoot stuff for Superman. Did you see anything? Was working with James different? Like, did he have? Was he more particular about certain things in his direction in season 2 that you detected working with him across seasons?
I think in season 2 there was that added stress of trying to finish Superman, but I think he loves Peacemaker so much it was sort of like his fun time when he's on our set.
Sure.
Because it's a little looser. It's not such heavy materials, and he does have a lot of fun on set. So I think that was maybe the biggest difference.
Yeah, it's got to be more fun because you guys are all so familiar to him. Whereas with Superman, it was mostly new actors, a lot of people he hadn't worked with before.
And a little more pressure, maybe.
Yeah, he's got to make sure Warner Brothers is happy with it and that it saves superhero cinema.
Right.
Also, season 1, you had to shoot under COVID protocol, and season 2, now it can be a bit more normal. I want to ask about the dance sequence, because season 1 you had choreography, season 2 you have to learn new choreography, work with new people, and I love that it can end with this big dog pile, something that it probably would not be allowed in season 1. Right. Talk me through the process of having to learn new choreography for that.
So after season 1, everyone was super excited that there's another dance number, and everyone was like itching to see if they were included in the dance number. So when the rehearsals started, we started in little groups. As you've seen in the dance, there's different factions popping up here and there. And I will say that this title dance opening tells a little bit more about the story. So if you watch close enough, you can sort of suss out general plot points.
Interesting.
So
yeah.
Be aware of that.
I've started to pick up on a bit of that. I think my favorite Easter egg in all of season 1 was just you popping out from the background of the set. I thought that was so funny, and I didn't even notice it at first. But yeah, your choreography is more involved, and there's all kinds of stuff of, like, there's a shot where Jennifer Holland is in it twice. Like, they did some kind of Texas switch or something.
It was great.
I don't know. I always love how did they do that shot?
Yeah.
Like, where was the edit? So now I have to go back and watch it more closely to figure out. I mean, I just love the dog pile at the end. I love seeing actors all together having to do something physical, and just seeing Frank Grillo cracking up.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
he can't keep it together.
Frank.
How many takes of that did you guys do?
So that took 2 full days of filming.
Oh, wow.
And it was probably the most fun because, when you're shooting scenes, you'll have like 5 actors here, a few here. But on those days, everyone is there. So it's sort of like a summer camp or, a reunion of some sort. And so we're doing segments and we get to hang out and doing press and all that kind of stuff. So it was just super fun the whole time.
Yeah, it looked really fun. And I also want to ask you about, I've learned through research that you are into collecting fine arts and paintings and pottery in particular. And I think you're in some interesting company, Nhut, because we know Seth Rogen is also into pottery.
Right.
I've also learned recently that Zack Snyder is into pottery. I was at a restaurant and the waiter's
Really?
like, yeah, Zack Snyder loves eating here and he designed all these little dishes.
That's awesome.
What is it about the Hollywood inner circle of potters? Or is there just something meditative about this craft where you're in control of something finally in a world where, as actors, you don't always have all the control?
Right. So, yeah, maybe, in filmmaking, it's not anything tangible. And what's nice for me about pottery is if you're there and you're thinking about, your schedule or interviews or whatever it is, like, your pot's going to turn out, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, but
Go for
it's
it.
going to be shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so when you're there and you're doing the wheel or whatever it is, like all of your focus is on that. And so it's nice to take like an hour out of your busy, hectic life and just focus on doing that. And then at the end of the day, you have a little dish that you know, when you give it to someone and they send you a picture of them using it, it's like a part of you is a part of their life. So
I like that. Like building something that's practical, that's usable. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Zack Snyder's like, I shoot all of these things and they don't always make it to audiences. So now I can make dishes that people in Sherman Oaks
Right.
can enjoy their broth out of.
yeah, every day, every morning, you know, whatever if they're drinking coffee,
Yeah.
you're like, thanks, Zach.
Thank you, Zack Snyder. Now that you are in the DCU, everything is interconnecting, and we will see more, I assume, over the course of the season of Peacemaker, how many people show up, where people on this show will show up in other shows and movies. But here's your chance to shoot your shot. Name a DC character who you think Judomaster needs to have a fight scene with.
I would love for Judomaster to be in a fight scene with Bane.
Ooh, I have a question
Because-
about that.
Yeah, so you know, historically, Bane is the backbreaker,
Oh, yeah.
and that's how Judomaster meets his demise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious how that would play out, or you know, if I get a shot of maybe staying alive with him, but.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit, you know? let's go toe to toe and see what happens. If I die, well, at least it was a good fight.
I love that. I was gonna ask, like, what is, as someone who's working in a big superhero franchise, is the goal like just longevity and character arc growth and change and evolution, or is it just these moments, like recreating these moments, even if it means like, well, that is the end of this character's life in this universe?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would obviously be sucky if you know, only do that and that's very finite. But I think for me, I just love acting and being on set. And so if that is in service to a story and my character dies, like, I would be super bummed, you know, because I love playing with all these people. But I understand that the plot might be more important than, you know, personal relationships. But having said all that, I would love to go years and years doing this because Judomaster is so much fun to play.
Yeah, he's so fun to watch. And that's my hope for the character. My hope is, James Gunn, if you're watching this, or anybody in James Gunn's inner circle, I want to see Judomaster show up everywhere and just pick fights with everybody. And then
Right.
someday in the future, years from now, we get to the Bane showdown. Because I do think that, like, covering other franchises like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead that are based on pre-existing things where characters are written to have finite ends and at some point they will have a spectacular death, you should play to that death. Like, you should rage until the dying of the light.
Right.
And I think there's something beautiful in, like, playing a character that has an end. And what I think the issue is in so many of these franchises, characters never die. And we never get to see what is so beautiful about their life is that it does have an end in some cases. So I'm not rooting for your character to die, but I think at someday I want to see that
Right.
fight.
Years and years down the line.
Years and decades,
Years.
even, James Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, post-crisis DCU, even if you want to go crazy in the multiverse.
Or bring him back.
Or bring him back in other forms.
Bring back 2 or 3 of him.
Several Banes. I can't wait to see what comes through. I like, clearly James Gunn saw something in your character and your performance that he's like, we cannot do this show without Nhut and without Judomaster, and the fact that you're back in season 2 and are playing this role, it means even more now that James Gunn has a DCU that he's trying to build and needs you to be a part of it. So you should feel proud. I think you did great work.
Thank you. And I'm super grateful for him, you know, for bringing me along and loving Judomaster as much as I love playing him.
He's a lot of fun to watch and just brings like such a different dynamic in terms of just energy. And I think if all the men on the show could just deal with their rage honestly as well as Judomaster does in terms of just how pure it is and how noble it is, I think it might not be as interesting as a show because everyone would be just more healed and more evolved.
Right.
But like I do just like the different flavors of rage on this show.
Yeah, I remember talking to James, and he said Judomaster might be the most, like secure in who he is as a person, and thinking of Judomaster in that way is wild, you know, but relative to all of his other characters.
Right, yes, agreed. I think the security of Judo, as angry as you are and unstable as you seem to be in the role, there's actually a focus there that is not there with other characters. It was such a great opportunity to be able to chat with you about where the DCU is at and where Judomaster will be headed next. And I cannot wait to see the rest of the season. And I would love to chat with you again in the future if you're open to it.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Should we
nice
toast?
meeting you. Let's do a final toast.
Yeah.
We'll clink Cheetos. Ting, ting.
Oh, that's good. I got my lunch for the rest of the day.
I'll take this home with me.
Yeah, go for it. Thanks, Nhut. All right,
you.
well, big thanks to Nhut and everyone on the Peacemaker team. Watch Peacemaker Season 2 on HBO Max. It streams on Thursday nights. Oh, talking while you do this, inviting the oxygen in.
It's tough.
Woo, tough. But you can watch all the episodes. 3 episodes are now streaming as of this episode. But we break all of them down here on the new Rockstars Network. Follow us on all social platforms. Now, is there anywhere on social media where we can follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at itsnhuttle, ITSNHUTLE.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Brian Kim, our producer and studio tech, who helped edit and produce this episode. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.